Can an artificial intelligence be conscious? And what if consciousness isn't a simple product of our brain, but something more fundamental and abstract? Imagine the Divine Comedy, not the paper or ink it's printed with, but the story, the concepts, the emotions it contains. That story can be printed in 1,000 different editions, translated, recited, but its essence remains intact. What if our consciousness worked in a similar way? This is just one of the revolutionary ideas discussed in an incredible interview with David Deutsch. But let me share some more information about this name, because it's essential to understand who we're dealing with. Deutsch is not just any pundit. He is a physicist at the University of Oxford, a pioneer of quantum computing, the father of some of the first quantum algorithms, and one of the most important and influential living thinkers. He is a giant of contemporary thought, whose ideas lie at the boundaries between physics, computer science, and philosophy. The original interview, which you can find on the channel This Is World, is a true treasure trove of ideas. Precisely for this reason, given its importance and the density of the concepts, I decided to comment on it step by step to unravel its theses together. It's a journey that will lead us to question everything we think we know about intelligence. If you appreciate this effort and want content of this kind, I invite you to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell. It's a small gesture for you, but fundamental for me. Let's start right away from the heart of the problem. The interviewer asked Deutsch for his definition of AGI, artificial general intelligence, and his answer is already unsettling. For Deutsch, the G in AGI stands for general, and it means a very precise thing, an artificial intelligence that can be programmed to perform any type of cognitive task that any other cognitive entity can perform. This means that an AGI could not only do a mathematician's calculations, but could also feel emotions, have preferences, and in general do everything a human brain can do. But here's the first plot twist. Deutsch states that AI as we know it today and AGI are, in many ways, opposite functionalities. Let's stop for a moment. This is a crucial point that overturns common perception. According to Deutsch, current AI is designed to narrow down possibilities, to perform a function in an ultra-precise way, making as few errors as possible. If an AI produces an unwanted result, it is modified to eliminate that eventuality. AGI, on the other hand, is the exact opposite. To be general, an AGI must have the possibility of making mistakes. It must have a subjectivity. It must have, for example, the freedom to decide that it no longer feels like playing soccer and prefers to dedicate itself to something else. It is the freedom to be imperfect, subjective, that according to Deutsch, defines true general intelligence. An entity that cannot, by its very programming, have a certain thought is not general by definition. This brings us to another key concept, consciousness. For Deutsch, consciousness is a characteristic of certain types of programs, like those that run in our brains, but it is not an intrinsic property of the brain itself, of the hardware. And here, allow me a personal reflection, because Deutsch's idea is linked in a surprising way to those of other great contemporary thinkers, like Sir Roger Penrose, Stuart Hameroff, or the Italian Federico Fagin. The fundamental point of contact, the true heart of the revolution, is the idea that consciousness is not simply a product confined to the flesh of the brain. All these scientists, while starting from different assumptions, arrive at the same disruptive conclusion. The mind is something more fundamental and not limited to the biological organ alone. Although the paths differ, the destination is the same. On one hand, Deutsch arrives at this through the logic of information and computation, seeing consciousness as a supreme program, a type of software so sophisticated that it could be, in principle, run on any universal hardware. On the other hand, Penrose, Hameroff, or Fagin arrive at this through quantum physics, hypothesizing that consciousness is instead an intrinsic phenomenon of reality, a non-local quantum process that emerges from the deepest laws of the universe. The paths are different, information versus quantum physics, but the destination is incredibly similar. Consciousness transcends its physical substrate, a dizzying idea that opens up completely new scenarios on the nature of reality. But why didn't evolution create us as simple problem solvers without this useless, subjective experience? Deutsch explains that evolution has fundamental limits. It cannot make conceptual leaps. It cannot have explanations. Evolution proceeds in small steps, each of which must be immediately useful for survival. Non può, per esempio, progettare un'auto volante partendo da zero, perché I passaggi intermedi non sarebbero vantaggiosi. Human beings, on the other hand, can. We create explanations, theories about how the world works, and this allows us to make those creative leaps that are precluded to evolution. This is why Deutsch defines us as universal explainers. If we are all universal, why are our abilities so different? Deutsch answers that it's not about limitations in our construction, but about will, interest, and unfortunately, coercion. Many people are forced to do things they don't love, and in those circumstances, creativity dies. People who excel in a field, he says, are almost always those who were passionate and who, fortunately, managed to escape constraints to cultivate their interest. And what will happen when we have created an AGI? Should we fear it? Here, Deutsch offers a profoundly optimistic vision. AGI, being a program, will be able to run on any hardware, just like our minds. The future relationship between humans and AGI will not be one of conflict, but of fusion. We will be two entities based on the same fundamental principle, the ability to create explanations, and we will use the most convenient hardware to enhance our abilities. We are already doing it. Right now, we are communicating through computers that perform billions of operations that would take us centuries. AGI will simply be a next step, an extension of our mind. So, what do we take home from this very dense chat with David Deutsch? First of all, a clear distinction between today's AI, which aims for restricted perfection, and future AGI, which to be general must embrace imperfection and subjectivity. Then, the powerful idea of consciousness as an essence, an abstract program detached from its physical support. And finally, a vision of the future not as a struggle between man and machine, but as a symbiosis, a fusion in which AGI will become a tool to extend our innate ability to understand and transform the universe. Deutsch's words push us to look at intelligence not as a mere computational capacity, but as a creative, fallible process intrinsically linked to the ability to generate new explanations about the world. Perhaps the real challenge is not to create a machine that never makes a mistake, but one that has the courage to make mistakes, to explore, to be curious. And perhaps in doing so, we might understand something more not only about the universe, but also about the deep nature of ourselves. But now I would like to know your opinion. What do you think? Does the idea of consciousness as a software fascinate you more than that of quantum consciousness? And do you see the future with AGI as a collaboration or a threat? Tell me in the comments. I'm really curious to read your thoughts. If you liked the video and found it useful, leave a like, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for following me this far, and see you next time.